Jai Baba.
Hey, Baba.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our celebration of Meher Baba's conductor. And she was not just a conductor of music, but she was a conductor for Meher Baba through her to all of us. So I'm just grateful to be here today and to be able to share with the rest of you some memories. And we have a beautiful video that her sister made. So I think what we'll do is probably start with that video and then we can share. And so this is a video from Denise. Jai Baba.
Hello, Denise D'Angelo Jones. I am Debbie Nordeen's sister, and I'm not able to be with you today. I have a commitment that I couldn't get out of, but I just wanted to thank each and every one of you who have sent condolences to our family and have been thinking of us during this time. I know that this is a loss not just for us, it's for the entire community and everyone who knew Debbie. And I could say a million things about her. I've known her my entire life, but I don't have a lot of time now because all of you are going to be talking, and I know you're going to want to share some amazing things. So I promise you, when I get back, I will be listening to what you had to say, and I know it will offer me comfort. Debbie was incredibly cheerful, incredibly positive, and lived her life in service of God, and she loved Meher Baba and in service of other people. And you know that. And what I like to do now is I like to share something with you that my son gave to me for Mother's Day. My amazing son, Debbie's godson, Dominic. And it's very special. And I just want to tell all of you that I love you. And I know that if Debbie was here, she would say, I love you all. So, Jai Baba, God bless, and enjoy. I think you're really going to enjoy what I'm going to share with you. See you later.
J Baba. Thank you, Denise. She still gives me chills when she sings. Well, before we get started, there's something I would like to do, and it was something I think Debbie would love to do if she was here. She would come on at least once a month and sing with us and show us how. And the way she taught us how was that we all got to unmute, and then we all got to be like birds taking Baba's name. And we would do this for a little while. So I would ask if we could maybe just see how loud can we get. Let's just all take Baba's name as birds. So go ahead and unmute yourselves, and you can make it any sound you want. Of course, I can hear Debbie's high range. Mayor Baba, Mayor Baba, Mayor Baba, Mayor Baba. So if you would like to join in, please feel free. Mayor Baba.
Meher Baba.
Meher
Meher Baba.
Baba.
Meher
Baba.
Meher Baba.
Meher Baba.
Baba.
Meher Baba. Meher Baba. Meher Baba. Meher Baba. Meher Baba.
Meher Baba.
Meher Baba. Meher Baba.
Meher Baba.
Meher Baba.
Meher Baba.
Meher
Baba.
Baba.
Meher Baba.
Meher
Meher
Baba.
Baba.
Meher
Meher Baba.
Baba.
Meher Baba. Meher
Meher
Baba.
Baba.
Meher Baba.
Meher
Meher
Baba.
Baba. Meher Baba.
Meher Baba.
Beautiful. Thank you. There's to you, Deb. Thanks for helping us, teaching us how to love our beloved and keep his name in song and in joy, and always in the positive side of things. So I'm going to open it up and just see if anybody else would like to raise a hand and share. I have a few memories of Debbie, but I think we all do. So I'll just open it up to the group. Angela, fearless leader, you're first.
Yeah, J Baba. So Debbie and I go back a long ways. I can't even remember how I met her, but I'm sure it was choir because I love to sing in a choir, and Debbie always had a chorus going, always, for all sorts of occasions, as you know. Love, love her energy and her spirit. So we got really close working together at the Heartland Center. So when I was on the Heartland Center board in Oklahoma, we would meet in Oklahoma every year and spend a week doing deep cleaning, yard work, major yard work, just to help the caretaker out, and then we would have afternoons of board meetings and that sort of thing. So Debbie would be the cook. She'd be cooking up a storm while we were out slaving away in the hot sun or deep cleaning. Some of us would do that, and then we'd have these board meetings, and then I would get to bunk with her. I'd room with her in the bedroom upstairs, and yeah, so that's how we got super close. We worked together on the newsletter as well. So she would be the editor and I'd lay it out, and we'd work back and forth with ideas. And it feels like our relationship has just always been like that, where if we went for long periods of time without talking, the second we got back to talking, it was like nothing, no time had passed. So the fact that she's gone now still doesn't feel like she's gone. I just feel like it's just one of those little gaps. And yeah, I know people don't really die, but it's just literally still feels like she's just about ready to send me a flurry of emails and we'll get involved in another project together. And yeah, so we talked about everything and anything, and she was just always the big sis. She called me little sis, and she used to call Cliff outlaw because outlaw Cliff because we aren't married technically. So instead of an in-law, he's an outlaw. So yeah, super close and have always just been able to meet. We hardly ever disagreed on anything. It was just always what Baba project are we getting into and how to do this, that, and the other thing together. It was just such an easy relationship, and it's amazing, you know what I mean? Like we can count on one hand how many friends we have like that, where you can just lean on them and they'll tell you straight and they'll love you no matter what. And she was always like that. She was big sis to so many. Obviously born a big sis in her own family, but she took on the role of big sis to the Nordeen clan. And yeah, she's just amazing. Such leadership. And always, always, always so strong a hold on Baba's Daman. Just so devoted and intense. What an inspiration. And an inspiration, her marriage too. Just the way that Peter and Debbie have always been so close and together in all things. It's remarkable. A lifetime of devotion and commitment. Jai Baba, I'm sure others will have lots more to say.
Thank you, Angela. Che Baba. What a wonderful share. Bringing her to us. Cliff. Che Baba.
Jai Baba, everybody. So as Angela said, we're very close with Peter and Debbie. And I did speak with Peter after Debbie passed. And the Nordeens in general, especially Peter and David and some of the others, men, have an attitude of, we all know what Baba, that basically we're going to be in another lifetime and we need to, it's just like, changing your clothes, dying, and you get in another body and all that. But I cried. And I might get emotional now too, because I got to know them and really resonate with them. And Debbie was a difficult person for me when I met her. I got close with them, when Angela and I got together. So it's been almost 20 years. But Debbie, I was a professional musician as a career, and I would work 12-hour days. And I didn't go to India. I came to Baba in the mid 70s, but I didn't get to India until like 2001, 2002. And immediately it's Baba's birthday in Ward Parks, who I had met. I had met so many people as they came through New York. I would go to the New York meetings when I could. But Debbie was obviously involved with the music, and Ward was very much wanting me to play in the pit. And then I accompanied the chorus as a percussionist. So anyway, the way Debbie was immediately all over me was beyond like what I was used to. And I worked with very difficult conductors and, did this professionally. And she wasn't necessarily giving me good advice often either, or necessarily a very strong, person at conveying things. It was a little rough because I think what I remember was it was about 50 days of not having a day off or something, and then going to India, which, what it's like going to there, and you get there and right away you're at a rehearsal and she was all over me. So that's how it started, knowing her. I had met Denise many years earlier, her sister, and I was at a bar mitzvah or a bat mitzvah. And, it was we had the Baba thing in common. And anyway, so I know a lot of other people want to share, but I really love Debbie. She was amazingly wonderful. we would stay with them often. I went out to Oklahoma a few times. I worked with Peter for a week at a time. You know, they were just incredible people. And they're both Scorpios, and they're both, like, without a doubt, soulmates, so connected. And she really made me feel like I was her family, and just a great person. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. Oh, I can't believe she got on your case, Cliff. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Ron, good morning. Jai Baba.
Jay Baba. I just have a couple of things that come to mind. One is how I never actually can think of a moment when I was in Debbie's company, which surprisingly, having never lived where she lived, seems like I was around here a lot. But I don't think, relatively I wasn't. But I feel like I was with her a lot, which is unusual. But it could be because, as Baba suggested to people who are performers, to express yourself thoroughly. And the thing that I can't think of is any time being with Debbie that she wasn't expressing herself thoroughly, which is amazing. I mean, it's one thing to be up there performing, as you could see in that video, how she did that. That's one thing, but she was always doing it in normal conversation. Anytime she just seemed to be exuding this fullness from herself and her heart. So that's the one thing. But the other thing that some people have missed who have come on to the Zoom late, that really I think is a great thing, is what Ruthie said in the opening. And that was, she referred to Debbie as the conductor. And if you've ever seen films of Debbie or been at her chorus gatherings and choir leadership, you can see her conducting. I mean, again, expressing herself thoroughly. But what Ruthie said, and you could, if I got this wrong, Ruthie, let me know. But she was also a conductor in a sense of conducting Baba's energy through herself, through what she said, what she obviously thought, and what she did in her life. And how beautiful is that? And an inspiration, as Cliff said, for everyone to pick up on. And this meeting could probably help us do that. Thanks.
Beautiful, beautiful, Ron. Jai Baba. Whew. Just have to take a moment. There, Baba. Barbara, Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. I wasn't working closely with Debbie, but I felt close to her. She was one of those people. I first met her very soon after I came to Baba. I met Denise in Long Island, and I don't remember if Deanna or Debbie were there, but I did meet Denise, and she played the guitar. And then my first trip to India, I met Debbie, Deanna, and Denise, and I think I drove back from Ahmednagar to Mumbai with them, and they were singing Motown songs the whole time in harmony, which was awesome. It was really, really great. And oh gosh, I'm making jokes, but I just, okay, so, and Debbie was one of those, and then I saw her again in my ensuing trips to India back in the 80s, and she was one of those people, and there are other Baba lovers that are like this, and some of them unfortunately have passed, but that's the way it works. So I'm not unhappy or sad about that. But she was one of those people that, even if you're walking around getting really negative feedback from everybody else, Debbie, it was like she saw none of that, and she welcomed you in, she treated you like a friend, she encouraged you to do everything no matter how badly you thought that everything had gone. She would encourage you to do it more, and you're like, okay. And she was just, yeah, she just was kind of a miraculous person in that way. Um, there's this old, I know this is a tired old joke, but maybe you haven't heard it, that why did Baba make so many Nordeens? Because there's so many people in the Nordeen family. And with that, in that, I would include Deanna, Denise, and Debbie. And the answer was because he wanted a chorus. Did you all hear that already? I'm sure you did. It's an old one. Um, just, yeah, the whole family over the years, and they're in India especially. I saw Debbie off and on. I worked a little volunteer work with her, and then there was the theater. And when we needed something, we go. Their little house was right close to the hospital aid, down on the road, down in Lower Maribot. Um, and Jeannie was very good at all that. And I'd see Debbie and Peter, and I think, and Peter with his the whole family with their very strong, total devotion to Baba, it was like steel to me when I would watch them, watch Peter work in Maribad, and Debbie too. But Debbie is different. Like Peter's doing hard labor, so you look at that and you see the strength of, I don't know, just their devotion and love to Baba, and all the rest of them, the whole family. So anyway, yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna stop or I'll get all muddled. Thank you so much, Jay Baba.
Jay Baba. Thank you, Barbara. Yeah, I was fortunate enough to, I was on, I think, 3 of Ward's CDs. So I got that front vision of Debbie conducting us. And anybody who sat there and watched Debbie conduct, and her face and the way she took in not just the lyric, but the notes, and then brought them forward in herself, in her face, in her movement. And you couldn't help but jump for all of the words and all of the, just, God bless us. We are so lucky. Big Jay Baba.
Jay Baba. So, I did not have extensive connection with Debbie, but like many, had quality connection. And the impression is, she was very talented, but more than that, she was continues to be very inspiring. And I recently, in the last couple of years, got involved a bit with Heartland Center. Alyssa, who's on this group Zoom, had spoken at Mayorana and about things happening at Heartland. And they're going to be able to buy the hospital where, Baba recovered, and Mara. And, that's been going on, and that's still an excellent prospect and will occur at some point. But on Amartithi, this last Amartithi, phone call came into the caretaker, Jane Montgomery, that the owner of the accident site property wanted to sell it to Heartland. Well, now how does this tie into Debbie? Well, everybody thought that the owners of that property really were conflicted, had no interest, in fact, were very turned off by the Mayor Baba community, being a conservative Christian community, etc. but she actually said she wanted to sell it to Heartland. It was very meaningful for them to do so. And in part of that was because they saw the work that the Heartland Center had done. And that would, of course, include the Burlinson House and the Morrison House. And there's actually another property that was recently purchased, so they own the entire block, but for the hospital. But I was reading some notes. There was a gathering on the anniversary of Baba's accident, and somebody mentioned that the Burlinson House was for sale. And Debbie and Peter were at that meeting. And Debbie ended up very enthusiastically volunteering to lead the fundraising campaign. And the house was purchased. Later, the Morrison House was purchased. There's been tremendous work that has occurred there. And if you look at Rick Chapman's website, you'll see 5 places of spiritual pilgrimage: Mehrabad, Marazad, Meher Center, Avatar's Abode, Marymount, and Prague, Oklahoma. That's one of 5 extraordinary places on the planet. When I went there in October 2023, I learned that Mara's injuries were actually more life-threatening than Meher Baba's. I know of no other instance where Mara participated in any way close to that. Anyway, Debbie has been an inspiration for this extraordinary place, which is 73 years later. The accident site is coming up. The hospital site will be coming up. And this, in our time, will be something that we have an opportunity to participate in. And Debbie has resonated for me throughout the years with her choral groups, seeing, in recent years on Zoom, various events. And she'll always also be remembered for being the foundational cornerstone of the Heartland Center endeavor. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
That's just some information I hadn't really thought about or knew about. So thank you so much for bringing that to us today. And also, I like your view of it being something that we can make an impact during our time. Thanks, Bean. Debbie. Miss Paula. Jai Baba. Paula, do you
Hey,
want to?
yes, I'm here.
Okay.
I,
Thanks.
I just want to say, throughout time, I've had a special little relationship with Debbie. I would call her every few weeks or here in Asheville. And I mean, I just, as I say, I'm gonna mention it again. There's this video online when you go to Debbie Nordeen and then Meher Baba. That is a talk that she gave in Australia in 2018. And it is so magnificent a talk about her coming to Baba through, illness and how Baba was with her all along because she had cancer. I believe it was 3 times in her life, and how he navigated it with her. And it is such an incredibly beautiful expression of her surrenderance, her deep faith, and in Baba. It is just a miraculous, beautiful. I think that it should be like a requirement for all Baba lovers. Like, it is such a beautiful talk. And I went to the crematorium we had in Asheville where we said prayers and all that. And I really recommend it to, I was telling every single person that I met there that, oh, you have to see this incredible, talk that she gives on YouTube in Australia, because it was so beautiful. But anyway, she was just such a gem. I mean, I I responded to some, years ago, my mother had passed in 2012, and I had made a memorial book for her. And in that book, I quoted a Rumi quote about the soul fruit we make in a lifetime. And it, I mean, it was such an incredibly beautiful quote. And Debbie just really, really is an expression of the soul fruit that she made was so incredible. And I put that quote in there, and I responded to that email from the family. Anyway, she was just such a gem. And her attitude, I'll never forget her attitude. She's like an example for all of us on how to live and be resigned to his will. That's all I could say. I miss her deeply, but she lives really large in my heart. That's all I could say. When I think about Debbie, I think about how large she lives in my heart, and that will always remain. So thank you, thank you, thank you, everybody. Much love.
Thank you, Paula. Much love to you. Elisa, good morning or good afternoon, Jay Baba.
Yeah, actually still morning here.
Good.
Thank you. Yeah, I just want to first of all, I want to second what Paula just said about that video. It really is inspiring. And if you haven't seen it, it really gives you insight into I felt it also gives you insight into Debbie's relationship with Baba and how it was so informed by the illnesses and how she saw her illnesses as Baba's grace, but it was a journey for her. So it's very real, it's very touching, and it's very applicable to all of our lives, I think. So it's well worth watching. And then I also just want to say, I agree, Debbie's loss is huge for us all, but particularly in the Asheville community. She was such a just a positive beam, as everybody's been saying, and just her love for Baba was so one-pointed. But I do want to also share what Bing was saying about the Heartland Center, because with that news about the accident site, I sort of was bringing Debbie back into it, and she was really, I mean, she was so over the moon about this possibility. And she was like jumping on joining the committees, and she wanted to join the fundraising committee, and she wanted to be part of the memorialization committee because we've been working really hard. And her enthusiasm was just such a boost in the arm for everybody, and she was like getting, I'm going to tell Peter, she would check in with me. So any updates, please tell me any updates. And so for me, that was one of the things I felt almost immediately upon her death was just, oh, I just wish she could have seen the final of the acquisition of the site, because we're so close. And I just think that, it would have meant the world to her. But I know, I'm so happy that she knew about it. And before she passed, like about a week before she passed, she told me that she was drafting some letters for a fundraiser, because we were asking her to write in her own hand, in her own words, a fundraising letter to the community about the acquisition of this site. And she was working on that. So my hope, and she had told me, I came up with a couple of drafts. So my hope is that that somebody, maybe Christine or Jeannie, will be able to find it on her computer, and we'll be able to use it, because it'll be so wonderful to have that Debbie's words be reached out to the community when we're ready to actually start the fundraising. So I just wanted to say that, I feel such a loss in that sense, because I know she would have really been such an inspiration to us all to be part of the fundraising and the acquisition. And she was also very excited about, when we acquire it, how we'll all go there. And so, but I know she's doing whatever she can from the other side to cheer this project on. So yeah, she was really a gem, and I think we'll all miss her terribly. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. Thank you, Elisa. One other thing that's come into my mind, the last time Debbie and I spoke, she had done something for Baba Zoom, or Peter had. Anyway, we were in touch about it. I must have hosted, and somehow we got started talking, and this was before this January. So it must have been somewhere in November, December. And she said, Ruth, what I'd really love to do is have something on death and dying on Baba Zoom, since we're all getting up there. And it would really probably be a service for the community. And I said, well, Deb, I actually went to a thing called a death cafe, and it was most eye-opening. They do them in Europe, all over Europe. It's a rather common thing there. And it's allowing people to talk about death, to talk about their experiences, if they've had any experiences of someone else that has passed, just anything, because nobody will speak to the word death. And Debbie, being the person that she is, would be the one to bring it up. I brought it up to Angela years back, and I couldn't get any other help, because it's kind of something that I think should be done very thoughtfully.
We have that in Asheville here. There's a Baba lover that Saeed Osio, and he runs death cafes in Asheville.
Well, Paula, we will be in touch, because in Debbie's honor, I might just try to pull this thing together. And
I have to get you in touch with Saeed. He's just instrumental, and he's very connected. We have this beautiful center of conscious living and dying. Also, they bought a property out,
yes,
and where people can go and die, consciously die. And so anyway, yeah, just connect with me.
All right. Would you put your phone number in the chat?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Thanks.
I'll put it in the chat right now. Okay.
Anyway,
Sorry for interrupting.
No, you didn't interrupt at all. You're just,
okay.
You're enhancing what I'm saying.
Okay.
And the point, I guess, that really I'm making is how strong an individual, what a soul. She personified the way to live, and she personified the way to go. And so anyway, I'm just thinking of that today as we celebrate her life and all the beauty that she is. Anyone else have something? Yeah, Miss Judy? Jai Baba.
Just a second. I'm lead on the gallery view here.
Okay.
Debbie Nordeen, as every one of you here already knows, there was only one. She was utterly unique and utterly marvelous. And simply put, in my perspective, she was one of the most courageous persons I'd ever met, and one of, as been mentioned previously, one of the most inspiring people that one could ever ask for. I had the good fortune to share many years over at Mehrabad with Peter and Debbie, and had a chance to sing in her choruses on many different occasions at Mehrabad and Merazad, which were always delightful. But one of the strongest memories I have, and I feel hesitant to share it because I, in a way, wasn't there. But where I came in was that, yes, as I understand it, Debbie had 2 very difficult bouts with cancer. And it was the second one that has taken her out. But back in the 80s, she was diagnosed and was very, very ill with cancer at Maribot. And so, Dr. Ann, please forgive me. You probably wouldn't want me saying this, but she was so concerned personally that Debbie would not make it onto the airplane in Mumbai. It was Bombay in those days, Bombay, to get back to America, that Anne went along in the car with Peter and Debbie to make sure that if anything could be done, she would be there to do it. And I remember how she was so deeply touched. I'd never met Debbie back then. This was in the 80s. I'd been to Maribot, but I wasn't a resident then. And she was so impressed with Peter's utter acceptance of whatever Baba gave. If Baba takes Debbie, he takes Debbie. If he leaves her, he leaves her. And I was so touched about these 2 people that I'd never yet met that were utterly accepting of Mayor Baba's wish and will, absolute acceptance. And as, of course, we all know, she did come back to Maribot, but it was 5 years later. And at that point, so this is in the early 90s, and I'm a resident at Maribot at the time. And I was Dr. Ann's assistant, and she was so joyous that Debbie and Peter were coming back to Maribot. And she asked me, she said, Judy, go buy just a parcel full of roses and fill Debbie's room and Peter's room with roses before they arrive, which was, my introductions to Debbie and Peter was that love and excitement about she was well, they were both well and could come back to Maribot, which Anne had shared with me would not, she never expected that would be possible. And that was the first cancer. And that's part of why I call her so courageous, as well as the second one and so forth. But you all know, we've all seen and experienced in some way, large or small, that energy that all of us are talking about, Baba's love flowing through him, flowing through both Debbie in her own unique way and Peter in his own unique way. They are such conduits of the moment to moment presence of Meher Baba on the planet in their lives, in our lives. And I also had actually, Mayor Baba gave me an inner message in the year 2000 and the message was, I didn't hear words, but they came in very specific. This is literally the message. Go to Prague. This is in 2000. Go to Prague, Oklahoma on the 24th of May in 2002 and do silent vigil at the place that I spilled my blood on American soil. And I said, Baba, I'll be there. I was still a resident in India, but back in the summertime here. And I made arrangements and was there at what was called the Oklahoma Gathering in 2002. Debbie and Peter were not there then, but a small group of us came up with this idea of this needs to be one of the centers of Mayor Baba, where he spilled his blood. And that's when the idea of the Heartland Center came up, when during that 2002 gathering. And as other people have indicated, so both Debbie and Peter became very involved after the 2002 gathering with procuring the Burleson House as part of the center. And they, Peter, Debbie, and Peter's sister Jeannie Felkner, and I think Bruce as well, came down to Prague a week before and worked their tails off for the solid week before the 2005 inauguration of the Heartland Center. And they were the energy, the vibrance, of all of this. And it was a delight to see them work, as people have said, so naturally and as if it was all orchestrated. But it was hard work and lots of cleaning, and at any rate, they and getting all the beautiful china cups out, for everyone to have tea at the Burleson House and so forth. That anyway, so from the tiny details to the great spirit of Debbie Nordeen, and as others have met, expressed, it wasn't just, she was a star in herself. Peter is a star in himself, but it's that combination of bringing everybody else that possibly wants to sing a single word or do a single act, bring them together to make this tapestry of Baba's love so present. And that's the Debbie Nordeen that I was blessed to be able to know this life. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba, Judy. Jai Baba. So beautifully said. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Baba.
Thank you, Mayor Baba, indeed.
For Debbie and the Nordeens. And the 3Ds, her two sisters as well. Which every time I pack my bag to go back to Maribod, every year, the first thing I would put on to listen to as I'm packing my bag was On the Road to Maribod that the 3D sisters put out decades ago. And it always got me in the mood to go back to the Baba's beautiful Maribod. Jai Baba.
Thanks to the 3Ds. Jai Baba. Ellie? Jai Baba.
Morning.
Morning.
I moved to Asheville, fortunately, just over 12 years ago. And that was before Baba for me. Baba came as a result of moving to Asheville. But I got to go to Woman Song, right? Before that. And I remember the awe, just watching this woman just leading this group of other women singing their hearts out. And she's just up in the front and so joyous. And I thought, wow, she just made an impression, which I know you all know. And, then I came to Baba about 7 years ago. I'm a newbie in this life. And a local Baba lover introduced me to many people, told me about many things. And I got to go to Debbie and Peter's house pretty early on and meet them and chat with them at the table. And I was like, oh, okay, whatever. And I didn't know she was the Woman Song lady then. But anyway, so I was just very fortunate to meet them early on. And I wasn't close with her. I mean, we knew each other, saw each other in a lot of different ways. And at the Sahavas, she would really be participating in here in Asheville. And then I got to go to Maribod, and she was there leading the Aratis and, putting on the Christmas show and doing all that sort of thing. And in Maribod, she said something to me, and I'm one of these people, I'm kind of sensitive. I feel the world. I let it get heavy on me, but she said to me something that I remembered again recently, and it's most appropriate now in our time. And she said, Elle, a smile is a natural facelift. And I thought, well, isn't that interesting? I need to remember that. A smile is a natural facelift. That was in Maribod, so that was my memorable thing there. And I remember she asked me to be part of the choir, as she asked everyone. And I declined because I was too self-conscious, but I kind of wish I had now. And I got to talk with her just a couple months. We had a few minutes to chat just a couple months ago. And she was still organizing right up into the end, as Elisa testified. But she had gone and put together the big bulk order for the area to get the 50 Years of Glow book, the Living Through Awakenings with Mayor Baba or something like that. So I got to go pick up my book and got to chat with her. And I was so blessed and grateful to be able to have those few minutes with her. And I knew she was in the hospital. I'm part of the Baba care team, but I just somehow didn't expect her to go, So when the news came through, I just went, the burst came out of the mouth like, no, and tears. I mean, and on the other side of that, I'm so grateful that she was ready to go. She was saying Baba's name. She was surrounded by love, and she would have been surrounded by love even if her family hadn't been there and friends. So just really grateful for Debbie being in our lives. Jai Baba.
Beautiful. Thank you, Ellie. Yeah. Oh, Baba. Yeah, I was at the center, and I'm so grateful that I was. We had music on Thursday night, and Buzz, before we got started, mentioned that Debbie Nordeen was getting close to breathing her last. And I was like you, Ellie, I was just completely shocked and dumbfounded. And, as Baba helps me in my time now in this life, just again to remember Debbie in the true spirit that she is, brings me back to Mayor Baba. So I'm able to kind of accept this and not be sad but be grateful. And I just could always, I can kind of hear her voice, and I can see her in my mind's heart.
Ruthie D has her hand up.
I'm looking, Dee. Oh, hey, Dee, thanks.
Hi.
Go ahead.
I didn't know Debbie extremely well. I had some musical experience with her and was always blown away by her positivity and her exuberance, and of course her beautiful voice. But there's one story that I think is just so delightful, and that is how she taught Jack Small to sing. And from what I hear, Jack Small absolutely could not sing, but always wanted to. And even I think this is probably true that Monty asked him, please don't try to sing at the tomb, that his voice was just not pleasing. But he talked to Debbie, and Debbie said, oh, yes. And she did teach him to sing acceptably. So I think the whole thing about, by your grace, anything is possible. By Baba's grace, that became possible, and she taught him to sing, and he was joyful about it. He would come at the center once he moved here to Myrtle Beach. He was just so thrilled that he could actually get up in the meeting place and sing, and nobody booed and hooted and ran out. It wasn't gorgeous, but it was okay, and he was thrilled about it. So Debbie did something really great for Jack.
Dee, thank you. Jay Baba.
Ralph has his hand up.
Yeah, I just motioned for him to go ahead and lower to unmute. Ralph? Jay Baba.
Yes, but I had not had any contact with Jack Small for ages. Just to comment, I got blasted a second time this morning with the video of Debbie singing, and I was stunned at the clarity of and beauty of her voice, because we never really heard it that way. She was just kind of leading the marching band, and shout, and just we didn't hear that like opera type of presentation of execution of voice. Was wonderful. I'm talking about Debbie. And then regarding Jack, after Jack had passed away, I found some videos of Jack in Myrtle Beach singing and they said he would come to the center frequently and sing at the meeting place. And I heard some of those and I was stunned. What I thought his voice was, now Dee said passable, but to me, it was like really, Tennessee Ernie Ford at least. I thought it was fantastic. But I didn't know that he had gotten tutoring in it. And that makes it even all the better. So Jay Baba thank you, Baba. Yeah.
Jay Baba, Ralph. Yes, Debbie had one of the most amazing voices I think I've ever heard. And I remember having an opportunity. I would make, at any time I was with her, I commonly would ask her to sing something. And there was a song called For This Is My Beloved. And I think it's from Student Prince. And I mentioned it in her, I love this song, Debbie. And she sang it. And I mean, it just should give you goosebumps. It was so beautifully crystal clear, you would just get goosebumps. Joy, Jay Baba.
Hi, thank you everybody for sharing. It's really been great too. You've said everything I was thinking pretty much. I didn't spend a lot of time with Debbie. My first trip to India, 2001, she was going around and asking people to join the choir. And I was really impressed by how larger than life she seemed to me. She just was so out there and so in charge and happy in what she was doing. I think we sang The Ocean of Love. And think also that she said this is the first time that she has had a choir sing it. I'm not sure. And I felt really sort of all by myself at my first visit, even though I came with some other people. They were kind of a little group unto themselves. And it just felt really good to be in the choir and have her looking at us and making eye contact and giving support. It was just really nice. And then I remember coming down on the same visit from the tomb, and I was walking by myself and I hear joy, somebody yelling joy. I said, who does that? You know? And her arms were wide and she just had this big smile on her face. And that's indelible, you know, it's just that doesn't go away. And she made me feel like I was part of something, you know, that she felt like some kind of really nice mom. And when I heard that she had died, the first thought that came to my mind was Baba saying that there are few more important characteristics to develop: cheerfulness, enthusiasm, and equipoise. And I said, that's Debbie. You know, and I was at Prague in one of the work weeks, and I remember feeling every time I went into the kitchen, she would be there, and I just felt this safety around her, this supportiveness of whoever she was talking to. And, you know, when it was me, we were in the basement one time. I don't know what we were doing down there, but there's always something to do in every one of the rooms. And I said, Debbie, I got to fix that picture. Bob's picture is crooked. And she said, oh, that would be so like Mara to do that. And that again just touched me, that she would just say that to me. So she's a really special person and role model. And I feel like I'm still learning from her to reach out to people and make them feel special sometimes, you know? It's like Debbie showed that. I think that's about it.
Jai Baba. Thank you, Joy. Your face just lit up as you were talking. The light just came.
See, like Debbie's face.
Yes, it just came beaming out.
Yeah, well, that's how I feel.
Yeah, Susan and Daryl Smith were here and they left a beautiful message that I just was looking at. So I'll just read it to you guys. Hi, everyone. Sorry that we can't stay with you all and the Nordeens this morning. Loved hearing the few sharings that we did. And then in parentheses, or not in parentheses, but in bold, we both really have enjoyed seeing and being with the brilliant light we know as Debbie Nordeen. And then, as Baba told the Mandali, you will see my gems. She certainly was one of them. And it was so heartening to hear what a loving send-off she had, and her ability to repeat Baba's name to the end. How fitting. That summarized her life devotion to and love for Baba in so many ways. Boots on the ground and songs in the air. Jai Baba. Much love, Susan and Daryl Smith. Boots on the ground and songs in the air. That's pretty good. Anyone else have something they'd like to bring? One year they came here to do, I guess we were doing a ward video here in Chapel Hill. And I don't really have this down in my mind correctly. I'm not sure. Anyway, I thought I picked them up at the airport. And when when they landed, this tremendous storm hit the area. And as we got from the airport and I was driving down my little street here to bring them to my house, there was a tree across the road. Now, I can't remember where Peter got the chainsaw, if he got one from our house or if he was driving his car and had one in his car, which sounds more like it. Peter always seemed to have a chainsaw. So he got out there. Isn't it true? He got out there and cleared away the tree on the street over here. And we had a lovely time together. And I heard, how they met. And it was just so sweet to have them in my house for such a brief time. And just as Baba would, they just saw every detail and they would bring it forth in the beauty that it is. And I will miss having Debbie Nordeen come on Baba Zoom and teach us how to say Baba's name as birds. So, is there anyone else that would like to share? Okay. Well, this is a video that we are dedicating to her family. And Rosalie, did you want to share something, dear? You're muted, of course.
Yeah, I remember being in a chorus that Debbie was conducting at the Sahabas in LA. And I didn't think so much of her as being a conductor, but a sharer. She was sharing her joy. And it was a very unique experience for me because I've been in a situation where someone conducts, and it was so delightful. I even have a picture of it, as a matter of fact. And I was thinking of her, and I thought it's so special that she left that. I didn't see it today again, but I will watch it again because it had so much in it about death and about surrender, because of course death is surrender. You're surrendering your body. Debbie brought all this like storehouse of treasure of Phyllis Frederick's poem to my memory, to my heart. And this one, because I think, well, it sounds like Debbie, if my death diminishes you all, I have not loved, I have not lived aright. So sing louder, louder, and accent the light. Well, I think she's singing louder for sure for all of us. And it was like just shared joy is what I felt with her. She gave me singing lessons in the Rahuri cabin, and it was just sheer joy. Shared joy and sheer joy. There's one mystical line that says, it puzzles me because I know it's true. It's God's straight talk. God in us is rejoicing his own experience of joy. Debbie was one of these people that helped me catch the scent greater. I have caught the scent of joy, and that's my direction. God's joy. Yeah. And it's like once you catch the scent, there's no stopping you, you know. And this little mini poem reminds me of Debbie. Courageous as a red poppy in a green field. That's my love shouting. Love, after all, is the loudest season. yeah, like share joy. You don't owe anything, nothing's owed. It's just like, I love the attitude. You share love to all and any, whoever's in need of love, looks like all of us, but all and any. And I think she was singing in. There's also another mystical message that says, love and sing in. Some people are afraid to sing out, but everyone can sing in. Love and sing in. Love life's use. Enjoy. I can't remember the line, but it's like that. Love and sing in. Like, we're all singing in right now, talking about Debbie, because, it's like we all catch the little spark. We all send out our little spark in our own unique way. And I think like a gathering like this is just like a big bonfire, like a big God fire, like, wow, that soul touched me. That soul is me. That, it's like, it's like bonding and merging. But do check in on her video, because it's a real so good. It's so good. Yeah, just I will watch it again and probably again. And the other one that's so good is Phyllis Frederick, Demystifying Death. Beautiful. It's beautiful. Anyway, I'm happy to hear all the shares, but yeah, so happy. Yeah. Jai Baba.
Hey, Baba. Well, maybe we could just one more time take a moment and unmute and just sing Baba's name. You can do it like a bird or any way you can. But let's just take a second and sing Baba's name. And then we'll have a moment of silence. Mayor Baba. Mayor Baba. Mayor Baba. Mayor Baba. Mayor
Mayor
Baba.
Baba.
Mayor Baba. Mayor Baba. Mayor Baba. Mayor
Baba.
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 Mayor Baba.
Mayor Baba.
Mayor Baba. Mayor
Mayor
Baba.
Baba.
Mayor Baba.
Baba.
Mayor Baba.
Baba.
Mayor Baba. Mayor Baba. Mayor Baba. Mayor Baba. Baba.
Mayor Baba.
Mayor Baba.
Mayor Baba.
Mayor Baba.
Mayor Baba.
Jai Baba. Let's have a moment of silence.
Life's use in prayer.
Jai Baba. Avatar Meher Baba
Baba
Ki
ki
Jai.
Hey,
Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai. Avatar, Meher Baba, Ki Jai. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Ruthie. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Thank you, Ruthie.
Oh, thank you,
Ruthie.
Baba.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Baba.
Thank you, Baba.